beat up on social media, you know it's a mean place. He is not easy to dislike. Now, this book has a theory that we used to capture in the idea of, and we would talk about jobs, what should you do? You have to go to college, you have to be high skilled. Everybody needs a plumber.
Yeah.
That, line, everybody still needs a plumber. It's somewhat at the heart of this book. What are you getting at here?
Well, the book really happened for a number of reasons. First of all, I don't care about raising eyebrows. I care about raising money. All the money goes to the MicroWorks Foundation for scholarships and advocacy. But the book's based on the idea that from the very first episode of Dirty Jobs to the last one, even at the height of the recession, when the headlines on shows like this and papers across the country were unemployment and no jobs, everywhere I went said help wanted. Everywhere. All 50 states, without exception.
What kind of jobs?
You name it. Could be painting bridges, could be welding, could be plumbing, could be steam fitting, pipe fitting, could be mechanics, could be diesel mechanics. A good diesel mechanic right now, up in the high plains, basically write his own ticket.
When did we get so allergic to hard work?
I think it happened, I mean, look, it's a sociological anthropologist is probably better suited to answer your question. My own view is it happened around the same time we pulled Votech out of high school. And we started using a certain part of our workforce as sort of an apocryphal cautionary tale. Go get that degree. Doesn't matter what it costs, because if you don't get it, you're liable to wind up like this guy. And there's some guy holding a wrench, right?
Is it hard work, or is it the difference between like being an artisan and being a professional or a service industry person?
Yeah, well, look, it used to be called vocational arts,
yeah, that's
right?
True.
Artistry used to be a part of everything we did, but we sort of arbitraged that out of the proposition. And in our anxiety to create neat verticals, now we have clean jobs and dirty jobs, good jobs and bad jobs.
It's one or the other.
Exactly.
We need both for our society to function.
Did your love of this or your passion on this topic, did this come from Dirty Jobs, or did you have this going in
Little
to
both.
Dirty Jobs?
Little
The dirty world of opera singing.
Yeah. Well, look, Dirty Jobs called me on a lot of my own BS, and I had evolved into I had become profoundly disconnected from the things I grew up with. My granddad, 8th grade education, master electrician, plumber, architect, he could do anything. That guy today is largely invisible because we don't value those skills in the same way. The book is really an attempt to look at a lot of different disconnects, but here's a big one. $1 trillion in student loans. We're still telling kids, if you don't get the 4-year degree, the odds are stacked against you. And yet, the 3 million jobs that are available right now, 90% of them don't require a 4-year degree. Result, we're lending money we don't have to kids who will never be able to pay it back, to educate them for jobs that no longer exist. The skills gap's not a mystery. It's a function of what we value.
That's a huge proposition we were talking about in the break. That's a massive culture shift that we'd have to...
But you have all the data that says that people with college degrees wind up having higher rates of employment than those without it.
Not all the data. Some of the data would lead you to conclude that. But if you look at everything, and again, I'm not a macroeconomist, economist. I can't even say the damn word. I just know that what I saw in all 50 states was a yawning, gaping skills gap. And the people I worked with on Dirty Jobs, to me, they should be on a poster. Because look, Dirty Jobs looks like an anthem to hard work, skilled labor. It is, but it's also a tribute to risk, entrepreneurship, and small business.
Sure.
A lot of those guys, there were 40, 50 multimillionaires on Dirty Jobs. You never would have known it because they were covered in crap, right? But look, it's the bait today that I don't think we should take is this idea that employees are forever pitted against employers. That's not what I saw. It's what I hear, but it's not what I saw, and until we get jobs in place and until real investment comes back in a proper way, we're just going to go down the same rabbit hole of talking points and internet screaming, and we're not going to converse. We're just going to argue.
It's interesting, because as you're talking, you're a bit of a juxtaposition. You keep saying, well, I'm not an anthropologist. I'm not a macroeconomist.
I'm a simple man.
You're just a simple man with simple opinions, but you're very passionate about these things. It seems that you'd said in the break, this was an idea that then just got out of hand. It seems that's how your entire career has gone. Dirty Jobs was one show, and then it got out of hand in a very good way, I guess.
No, look, I've Forrest Gumped my way through every good thing that's happened to me. But yesterday at this time, I was standing at Tulsa Welding School down in Jacksonville, Florida. They are training as hard and as fast as they can dozens of welders. There are 800 jobs right there in the area at the local shipyard for welding. They can't fill them. These guys are starting at 55, 60 grand a year. In a couple of years, you can make Where's the headline?
So let's
So,
give
yeah,
the headline.
I am passionate about
Let's give the headline, because a big part of the sell in the book is that there is a disconnect, and if you get past that, you will see opportunity where right now we see dead ends. So the headline is for you that there are jobs available, but we culturally are looking in the wrong places for what we define as success. Is that fair?
That's a fair headline. If I could do it slightly shorter, I would say that we're simply we're rewarding the behavior we have right now, right? And so when you celebrate one form of education, let's call it higher, at the expense of all the other forms, let's call that alternative, you basically guarantee the end result. Alternative education becomes the vocational consolation prize. Sorry, Chris, maybe this this finance degree didn't work out for you. Here's a welding torch, right? And so the whole thing starts from a premise of subordinates. That's insane.
And
That's
impractical.
what we do.
Mine was much shorter, by the way, but yours is better. That's why you read the book.
It's a
the
one-page
voice.
book.
He
It's a
started with
one-page book.
QVC, guys. The guy knows how to sell.
His voice is just better. Everything he says
If
sounds
only I
better.
had something to
Mike
say.
Rowe
Exactly.
in the
Sell me
house.
this new game mug. Go.
Well,